That was Boy 50 with Ghost in My Room. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for October 31st to November 8th, 2022. On Saturday, Caron Anterberry passed away following a shooting in South Chicago. 36-year-old Caron was driving for Uber on Saturday. Around 12:20 p.m., he was sent to pick up a passenger on the 8000 block of South Jeffrey. During the stop, another vehicle pulled up and someone inside began opening fire. Caron was struck multiple times in the body. The 24-year-old was wounded after receiving a shot in the back. Caron was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where he passed away from his injuries. The unidentified 24-year-old was taken to Advocate Christ Medical Center and was last reported in good condition. Caron had dreams of leaving Chicago and possibly moving to Arizona or Texas. His friends say when he entered a room, he would always smile, and his smile was like a bright light that filled him with joy. On social media, he was remembered as a person who never had anything negative to say, a person who never bothered anyone, someone who was deeply loved, and an intelligent man who was studying to be an engineer.
Remain friends, and we were best friends, and kind of grew up with them. He made sure that the friendship always was, a strong friendship, and no matter how many miles was in between us, nothing could separate the bond that we had built over years.
He spent holidays with us. He was a very important part of our family.
His sister reached out to me and I spoke with her, and she kind of told me like what happened, because I didn't know what had happened. And she told me, what was going on. And a car pulled on the side of them and shot the car up. And he was thinking about moving to Arizona or to Texas.
Make sure that you're protecting yourself and safe. Never second guess yourself if there's something questionable. But if it's questionable, just don't take it.
Anyone with information on this or other Chicago crimes is asked to contact 311 or leave an anonymous tip at cpdtip.com. An off-duty police officer and a 43-year-old man were wounded in a shooting on Saturday. The shooting took place on the 2300 block of 103rd between South Deering and Jeffrey Manor, less than a block from the 4th District Police Station. The 51-year-old Marionette Park police officer has been identified as former Chicago officer Rhea Robinson. Rhea had previously made news as a Chicago officer who was fired from the department in 2015 after falsifying police documents, including a parking ticket issued to former Internal Affairs Chief Juan Rivera. According to reports, around 5:29 p.m., Rhea was driving her Kia SUV to work. On the way, driving down 103rd eastbound, she attempted to pass a white Chevy Impala, but the driver had swerved to stop her. The driver of the Impala was identified as 24-year-old Navy veteran Darian Thompson of Hyde Park. Darian and Rhea reportedly continued to engage through their vehicles, with Darian attempting to block Rhea from passing him. After passing Corliss High School, two of the passengers in Darian's vehicle began opening fire with what were reportedly automatic weapons, with one having a drum magazine.
Where's it coming from? That person down, 103rd and Crater. 22 rounds. We're getting another 12 rounds from the street, high capacity, full auto.
After firing shots, Darian sped off, but Rhea began to pursue him. As the two cars sped past the 4th District Police Station, Darian crashed into a black Ford Fusion, spinning it around. The Impala, driven by Darian, crashed into a fence. Rhea then got out of her vehicle and reportedly announced she was an officer. Darian's two passengers then got out of the vehicle and continued to shoot at Rhea. Rhea returned fire. A local resident seen the incident and went to try to assist Rhea. Both stood behind the vehicle but were struck by gunfire. Rhea was hit in the neck and the resident was struck in his left leg. Both were taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center. Rhea was released with a bullet fragment lodged in her neck. The unidentified resident had a steel rod implanted to repair his tibia, which was shattered by the gunshot. Darian, who was paralyzed from a shooting in 2018, had crawled out of the crashed Impala before collapsing. He was taken to Trinity Hospital for treatment. No word was given on his condition. 3 people in the black SUV were taken to an undisclosed area hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Darian, who was out on probation for weapons violation, was charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, unlawful use of a weapon, and various traffic violations. The father of a 5-year-old is currently being held without bail and is set for a court appearance on November 19th. No word has been given on the two shooters. A 68-year-old man was seriously injured in a South Chicago fire on Wednesday. According to reports, the fire broke out at a building on 91st and South Chicago Avenue. The fire allegedly started after the man began smoking while using oxygen. The man was taken to the University of Chicago Hospital. He suffered burns to the face and throat. He was last listed in serious to critical condition. Police are seeking 35-year-old Desmond Webb after a shooting last weekend in Hammond. Desmond, who is from Calumet City, is being accused of shooting his ex-girlfriend on Sunday on the 5600 block of Holman Avenue. The unidentified woman had a protective order against Desmond and filed a series of reports against him going back to May. According to the Northwest Indiana Times, the woman told police she was standing outside a vehicle occupied by her current boyfriend and child. She said she noticed Desmond driving a black Chevrolet Equinox. As she went to warn her boyfriend, Desmond reportedly opened fire. The woman was struck in the face and required surgery on her left cheek and eye. Desmond had drove off through an alley. Police, using a license plate reader, tracked the car to a Calumet City home. The car had reportedly been rented by a woman Desmond was dating. The woman denied knowing Desmond. Police obtained a search warrant and found the car, but Desmond was not there. Anyone with information on Desmond's whereabouts is being asked to contact Detective Sergeant Steve Guernsey at 219-852-2978. On Friday, David Copley Jr. was sentenced for his role in a triple homicide in Hammond. David had pleaded guilty last year to the crime, which occurred in 1998 at a home located on the 4600 block of Torrance. David and his co-defendant, James Higgison III of Whiting, were accused of beating 3 people to death with wood or metal pipes. 36-year-old Elva Temez, 18-year-old Jared Hodge, and 16-year-old Timothy Ross of Calumet City were killed in the home owned by Elva. Prosecutors allege David and James were trying to get drugs and cash from the victims. James was convicted in May and sentenced in June to 180 years in prison. David, who testified against James, said James instructed him to hit Hodge, so he struck him in the head while he slept. David says he ran out the house after James began beating Timothy and Elva to death. James was sentenced to 45 years in prison. South Shore resident Derek Merrill made headlines this week over a controversy over his plans to open a spa in South Shore. Back in March, Derek purchased a building at 2672 75th Street. Derek reportedly invested $80,000 in renovating the space for building his vision of a spa that caters to men. According to Derek, the spa was to include a barbershop, massage and nail area. While the spa would be more geared to a male market, it would be open to women as well. According to Derek, a rumor circulated about him holding a grand opening event that would include drinks, strippers, music, and other entertainment. Derek denies those claims and was still waiting for the final approval for his business license. Some residents raised concerns about the business to 7th Ward Alderman Greg Mitchell. Natalie Perkins of the South Shore Neighborhood Network Alliance spoke to the news media against Derek's business. She claimed to WGN News that she saw that strippers were going to be at Derek's grand opening and that other entertainment was listed.
It said strippers 8 until, and then it had other things that were listed for entertainment, drinks and other things like that. So that doesn't sound like a spa.
She stated that while she would welcome a spa in the area, she felt Derek had other intentions.
We're really a gentleman's spa. Our guys need that. It would be so nice to have that type of business that we can begin to see in South Shore, but it doesn't seem like that is what he's doing.
Following the concerns raised, Alderman Mitchell spoke against the opening of the business at a city zoning board hearing. As a result, Derek's business special use application was denied by the zoning board. A competitor for the 7th Ward Aldermanic seat, Jocelyn Floyd, spoke to news media in support of Derek's business. She urged people to hear Derek and his vision for the business.
I think that people need to give him a chance. I think that they need to meet him. I think they need to see his vision.
Derek has appealed the decision and is awaiting the results of the appeal.
Grand opening, it was no event, it was no strippers, and this, as you see, it's being set up for a barbershop, a nail shop, and a massage. A vision to create like a one-stop shop where you can come get your nails done, you can get a massage, you can get a haircut. Basically, you can watch sports on the TV.
The proposed Thrive Exchange was announced as one of the potential winners of the $10 million Chicago Prize. The Thrive Exchange is a proposed development on 79th and Exchange, led by DL3 Realty, Chicago Family Health Center, Neighborhood Housing Services, and Revere Properties. On its website, the exchange, which is also an Invest Southwest development, proposes 100 new luxury homes, in which 76 apartments and 24 condos will be built, along with a health center and new restaurants and shops. The development is expected to cost $100 million. The exchange was selected as one of the finalists for the prize, the winner of which will be announced in December. During the week, the East Chicago Police recognized 2 students that reported a teacher at St. Stanislaus who had a kill list of students and staff. Police recognized 5th grade student Portia Jones and a second student for reporting the threat issued by 25-year-old Angelica Garisquillo Torres. East Chicago Police Chief Jose Rivera presented the students with the department's Heroism Award on Friday.
There are actually 2 young heroes right here. These are 2 heroes in our community that did something that we're very proud of.
On Thursday, officials announced the closing of the Franciscan Health Hospital Emergency Services in Hammond. The hospital, located at 5454 Holman Avenue, announced that it will be closing the emergency room and will instead operate similar to a clinic. It says it will invest $5 million to renovate the space for a clinic, dialysis center, and women's health care center. The hospital claims the facility is not averaging enough patients to keep the emergency room operating at full service. Mayor Thomas McDermott Jr. and several residents protested the move. Mayor McDermott said in a news interview that a lot of residents in Hammond do not have private health insurance and are not wealthy, and that the move would put more lives in danger. During the week, Calumet City Mayor Thaddeus Jones hosted a senior breakfast at an area senior living facility with Illinois Governor Pritzker. The breakfast was held at the Bernadine Manor located on 1700 Memorial Drive in Calumet City. The event was part of a Get Out and Vote drive held to prepare voters for Tuesday's election. Pritzker was running for re-election against Republican Darren Bailey. Jones, who is under federal investigation, was also running to retain his Illinois representative seat against Republican Jeffrey Coleman of Dalton. As of the time of this reporting, Jones held a big lead over Coleman. Pritzker won re-election. And finally, the South Shore will be offering free service for active duty military personnel and veterans from November 11th to November 14th. The free service is offered as part of Veterans Day celebration. Anyone interested in receiving the service just needs to inform trained personnel that they are an active duty or military veteran, and they will receive the free ride. Reports state no identification is required. Up to 3 children up to 13 years of age may ride free with the military personnel or veteran on off-peak weekday and all weekend trains. And that ends our weekly review for October 31st through November 8th, 2022. Thank you for joining us for this week in review. Peace.
I'm haunted by ghosts of the living. I ain't been called by my bros in a minute. To be honest, I'm cold and I wanted to hold it down. I don't know how I'm pretending to smile in this moment. I'm sorry I did this, cause I never thought we would end this. If only I gave you the love that you needed, then maybe your heart would be in it. You said to me, noxious, I'm leaving. We're perfect together, but not as a team. But I can't give you up yet. I care way too much, and I gave you my trust. I'd say stay, but I want you to mean it. I know that I can be a lot to deal with, but I don't understand